This is dominating Howie Roseman's dreams, my friend. The Eagles' leadership has just mapped out a masterpiece for the 2026 free agency, and it does not involve spending hundreds of millions on big-name stars. This strategy is surgical, identifying undervalued talent that can transform entire units for a fraction of the price of a superstar. We are talking about reinforcements for the pass rush, for Jalen Hurts protection, and for a secondary that needs long arms and tactical intelligence. But the big question leaving Philadelphia on high alert is, are these blue-collar players enough to ensure the Eagles' title window remains wide open? I am going to explain who these three targets are and how each one of them solves a specific problem that plagued the team last season. But first, if you are a die-hard Eagles fan and you trust in Howie season, hit that like button and subscribe right now. The 2026 market is about to explode, and you need to understand every move before the contracts are signed. The situation in Philadelphia is one of silent urgency. With the 2026 negotiation period approaching, the Eagles' leadership finds itself at a financial crossroads. The team has approximately $22 million in projected salary cap space. Does that sound like a lot? Not when you realize that 10 important contracts are about to expire and that fundamental names like linebacker Nakobe Dean and safety Reed Blankenship are knocking on the door to renew. That is why Howie Roseman is looking at the market differently this year, prioritizing long-term sustainability without sacrificing the talent on the roster. The first name emerging with full force to reinforce the defensive line is Kwity Paye, currently a defensive end for the Indianapolis Colts. Let's talk about numbers that do not lie. Paye, a first-round pick in 2021, enters the market at 27 years old after a 2025 season where he recorded 39 tackles and 4 sacks. I know what you are thinking. Only 4 sacks? But here is the secret that basic statistics hide. Paye is a monster in run containment and a specialist in generating pressure that results in sacks for his teammates. In 2024, he had 8 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. Adding Kwity Paye would not only give Nolan Smith a breather, but would also allow the Eagles to maintain an elite rotation without compromising the team's financial future. Bringing Paye to Lincoln Financial Field means having a first-round player who, because he is coming off a statistically low season, could cost up to $10 million less per year than someone like Jalen Phillips. In Vic Fangio's system, the defensive end needs to be disciplined, and Paye is the definition of tactical discipline. He does not get lost on read options and has the necessary strength to anchor the strong side of the line against heavy run schemes. Stepping further into the defensive line analysis, we need to understand that Philadelphia's philosophy has always been built from the inside out. By bringing in a player with Paye's profile, Roseman is essentially buying insurance against the natural physical decline of veterans. This tactical transition is vital because it allows the Eagles to utilize more versatile defensive fronts, alternating between the 3-4 and the 4-3 without losing the ability to seal the edge of the field. With Paye drawing the attention of double-team blockers due to his physical strength, players like Jalen Carter would have even more open paths to collapse the pocket from the middle, creating a domino effect that benefits the entire unit. But the roster reconstruction also involves the offense, and that is where the second target on this list comes in. Tight end Charlie Kolar from the Baltimore Ravens. My friend, if you like old-school football, you are going to love Kolar. He is a giant at 6'6" and 257 pounds who has spent the last few years learning in the best blocking system in the league. In 2025, he had the best numbers of his career, with 142 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 15 targets. His efficiency is bizarre, nearly 10 yards per target. Why do the Eagles need him? It is simple. Dallas Goedert's contract is coming to an end, and the team only has tight end 4 Cameron Latu guaranteed for 2026. Kolar is what we call a legitimate Y tight end. He is not just a receiver. He is an elite blocker who serves as an extension of the offensive line. In the Eagles' run scheme, having a player with Kolar's wingspan clearing the way for Saquon Barkley would be unfair to opposing defenses. Furthermore, he is a massive safety valve for Jalen Hurts in the middle of the field. The truth is that Kolar is the perfect cost-benefit piece to replace the blocking production the Eagles have lost in recent years. Now let's head to the back of the field where things get heated. The Eagles have 2 young talents in Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, but to face the aerial attacks of the National Football Conference, you need depth and long arms. That is where the third name appears, Montaric Brown, the cornerback from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brown is only 26 years old and is coming off a season where he led the Jaguars' cornerbacks with 12 passes defended and 2 interceptions. What makes Montaric Brown special for Philadelphia? His 34-inch arms. In the modern National Football League, wingspan is everything for deflecting passes and disrupting receivers' vision. Brown is a physical cornerback who is not afraid to come up for the tackle. He recorded 75 tackles in 2024. He fits perfectly into what Vic Fangio is looking for, a player capable of playing in zone, reading the quarterback's eyes, and reacting quickly to close passing windows. With a projected market value well below the position's stars, Brown would allow the Eagles to solve the cornerback 2 problem without sacrificing the chance to renew Captain Reed Blankenship at safety. To understand why these mid-range moves are so crucial, we need to look at the 2026 salary cap structure. Howie Roseman is operating under the premise that sustainable success comes from a balance between paid stars and draft talent on rookie contracts that level up. When you bring in players like Brown or Kolar, you are essentially filling the gaps left by expensive veterans who departed, allowing the 2024 and 2025 draft picks to flourish without the pressure of carrying the team alone. This asset management is what sets the Eagles apart from teams that collapse after paying their quarterbacks. It is the art of keeping the middle of the roster young and cheap, so the top of the roster can remain elite. But to understand the full story, we need to look at what the Philadelphia leadership calls asset management. The Eagles are at a point where they can no longer do crazy things every year. The priority is to maintain the young core that was recently drafted. If the team spends $25 million on a single defensive line player, they lose the ability to keep Nakobe Dean, who had 55 tackles and 4 sacks despite playing only 10 games in 2025. That is why names like Paye, Kolar, and Brown are so strategic. They offer 80% of a star's production for 40% of the cost. The reality is that the 2026 market will be dictated by efficiency. With the salary cap rising to record numbers, elite player prices are going to skyrocket. If the Eagles can anticipate these second-tier signings that have first-tier ceilings, they ensure the team remains competitive, while NFC East rivals drown in poorly managed contracts. And if Plan A fails? If the Colts decide to use the franchise tag on Kwity Paye? The Eagles' Plan B is already in motion behind the scenes, with the team closely watching trench prospects and veterans who might be cut for salary cap reasons in other teams. Roseman's philosophy is clear. You never have enough pass rushers or offensive linemen. The search for names like Charlie Kolar also indicates a tactical shift, perhaps preparing the ground for an offense that uses more 2 tight end formations to protect Lane Johnson, who is already 36 years old and has been suffering from injuries. With the real possibility of trading assets to ease the cap and the need to rejuvenate the defense, what would be the smartest move for the Eagles in 2026? Do you prefer Howie Roseman to go all in on a superstar, or for him to build an army of productive and inexpensive players like Kwity Paye, Charlie Kolar, and Montaric Brown? The final question becomes, is this skilled worker strategy what Jalen Hurts needs to finally lift his first trophy, or are the Eagles being too cautious? In a window that could close at any moment? Leave your opinion here in the comments. I want to know if you trust this Philadelphia Moneyball, or if you are concerned about the lack of immediate impact names. Don't forget to give that like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Eagles news.